So, Veronika, can you tell me more about this gorgeous art piece?
Yes, of course, all my rabbits, I started naming them and giving them a surname. Now, my mom's maiden surname is O'Neill, so I've got a lot of Irish blood.
Okay.
So I decided all of them will be from the O'Hare family, but not O like hair, O like the expression. Because because after I made my first rabbit, I thought, oh, she's pretty. So they get a name with the Irish surname O'Hare. Okay. So this one here is Levi because I made him mostly from denim jeans, and I think I had 3 pairs of Levi's that somebody gifted to me. They were really old. That I used in this magnificent big sculpture. This was actually my first sculpture that I went bigger. So he was like a practice.
And what was that like for you, going from small to large?
Amazing. It was like I was so excited. I remember my mom and dad still visited me, and my dad, he's passed away now, but I remember how excited he got when he saw me working so big, and he just loved it. He was one of my big fans, and he just loved it that I'm now just like taking the plunge and going bigger. And he's also stuffed with, the eco bricks that we make here in South Africa that they build with. So my family is very conscious about the environment. So everybody makes eco bricks and then they gift it to me. So he's got a couple of eco bricks in, and then obviously around the bricks, I used batting and some stuffing. Plastic, that's, plastic wrap and things like that is normally nice to stuff with. Plastic bags, soon we won't have any more plastic bags, so then I'm going to run out of that option, but it's good for the environment. Okay, and something like there at the background, the one thing about creating for all these events, these auction events, is just like with an exhibition, you don't always sell everything. So I always end up with having 1 or 2 items left. Although, with Stephanie, I'm not restricted in what I make. I normally choose my own theme because I like to make, things that are consistent. But with the Soul Sisters, every month we have a different theme. And I love it because that challenges my creative thinking. Like there at the back, that was like a boho. I think it was like boho love and things like that.
Okay, that was the theme.
Yes, so those are textiles wrapped around just the wood, super wood that I did,
I love the way you've made them a set with a beautiful hanging, so they're similar but different.
Yes, I had a couple of sets, but somehow the pink one didn't sell. But it's okay. I also need to decorate my studio.
I love them.
Somebody's going to buy them,
I love them because they're very much who you are, free-spirited, wild at heart, and love yourself. I think they maybe were supposed to come home with you.
Okay, so here in the window I have owls. They are part of the O'Hooter family.
May I touch one, please?
Yes. So they also have a surname, so they are the O'Hooters.
The O'Hooters?
Yes, because obviously an owl go hoot. So
trousers from?
Yes.
Oh, how wonderful. I love the way the wording.
Yes, I like to use the pattern paper, old pattern paper. I like to sort of like use the arrows and things like that and the words to sort of like create a focal point.
Yes, I see he's got an arrow on his beak.
Yes, and it makes it interesting,
Yes.
People pick it up. This is like a conversation piece, People will look at it.
I like that it says front on the back.
Yes, I deliberately did that, I like to do things like that because it makes it interesting,
These owls are magnificent.
And funnily enough, when I had my first local exhibition at Potchefstroom, I created this one for that exhibition. Okay. Funnily enough, you would think that the women, would rave about the art and, because women are naturally the decorators and, that buys the art and the decor for the home. But the men love these sculptures.
Okay.
They would stand and look at it for hours. They would read. Women would go and say, oh, it's pink, it's beautiful, it'll go fit in the home. They will pick it up and they will look at every single thing and see there's a 26 and there is words there and there's an arrow there, and yeah, so they, I mean, we had a show a year ago, the Valley Fears. Now, we live in a farming community, and I tell you, those boere oomies loved my sculptures.
So how many of these owls have you made and sold?
I think I've made about 70 owls. Yeah, owls and rabbits are the most.
Okay.
Yeah, and octopuses. Yeah,
Okay.
people love the octopus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you think it is that those particular animals have such appeal?
I don't know. I think, you know, the owls are just an amazing bird, and it's also, you know, it's if you think about owls, you think about books and reading and wisdom, you know, those kind of things. Rabbits, this fluffy animal. Who doesn't love a rabbit? You know? And yeah, funnily enough, my very first auction where I had my own day with Stephanie, because normally you have two artists on a day. Where I had my own day, I said to her that I would love to create an ocean theme, because at that stage I've never made anything under the sea. I've created birds and land animals, wildlife, everything, never under the sea. And it was amazing. It was such an amazing. I made octopus, a sea turtle, seahorses. You know, people just raved about it. But somehow everybody just loves the octopuses. I've made a lot of octopus.
Okay, okay. And you have seen the Octopus fan club on Facebook?
Yes, that also. And you know what inspired my making octopuses? It's the South African movie, My Octopus Teacher.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, yeah. So that's
wonderful.
That was one of my main inspirations, because what I do is when I create new animals that I haven't created before, is I watch documentaries, I do a lot of research, I watch YouTube videos. I like to see how the animals move, because it gives me a sense, because remember I create separate limbs.
Yes.
And separate body parts, so it gives me an idea how they move.
Yes.
And I do put a lot of research into, you know, when I create a new animal, because I have to make the pattern.
Yes.
And although I use bright colored fabrics and unusual fabrics, they still have to look like a rabbit.
Yes, yes.
A little bit in proportion.
Yes. I think that must be quite tricky also. How do you balance these stretched proportions so that they still look natural and not too freakish?
Yeah, I think that is just part of being creative.
Yes.
You know, you have that sense. I mean, I can spot a painting if it's like a millimeter out.
Yes.
So I think it's something that's just within me.
Yes.
Because what I do is I would normally look at an animal and then I would print out a side view, and I would use that as a reference to make drawings.
Okay.
And then not every time it works out, because sometimes the drawings, the limb looks or the body part looks weird. Okay. And then I adjust it. So when I make a new animal, I sometimes make the base of it 3 or 4 times. Okay. And sometimes I enlarge a leg or a hand or whatever, so that my piece look realistic. Yes. Even though the image was realistic, yes, I need my piece to look realistic. Yes. So I do adjust it.
Okay, that's a very interesting process. Thank you for sharing that with us.
So here I've got my beautiful stargazer.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
Yeah. So I made him actually with a big one that was standing, and I have these old these are the little stools that you sat on when you milked the cow, because it had like a little handle on the side, but the handle broke off. So I still inherited that from my late mother and father-in-law. So I decided to make him just the top part on that little stool. Now you can see that I used a lot of paper with this one as well. I just wanted to try something new, try to be a bit innovative. These are t-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I made t-shirt yarn because I had a black t-shirt. And then sometimes I harden the wool for the ears, but not always, because
I like that.
Yeah,
He's
sometimes
soft.
yeah.
He's got soft ears. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. One of my big dreams is to have an exhibition for blind people, because my sculptures, you can touch them. Not, if you go into a gallery and touch art, you would be like, everybody said, don't touch the art, don't touch the art. Yeah. But I make my sculptures in such a way that people can actually touch it.
Wonderful idea.
So that's one of my big dreams, is to create an exhibition, opening night probably for people that's visually impaired.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea, but I think, you have to look at the logistics, because you'll have to have somebody standing with each sculpture to guide.
So how would that exhibition be different from this? Because this is already very tactile.
I would use exactly the same materials, because my materials are sealed, hardened and sealed, so they can't break it.
Okay.
And it's sealed almost like a Scotch guard. I've got a special medium that I seal it with. So unless they touch it with sticky hands, they can't damage it, So I would definitely, that is a big dream of mine, to be the first South African artist to have an exhibition for blind people.
So what I really, really love about this is so many artworks in galleries are untouchable. And here you're making something that you can touch, you can handle, it's robust, you could arguably drop it,
For me, it's also because it's recognizable,
Yes.
I think it will be more difficult if you have an abstract piece for somebody to, touch it and understand. Not, we sometimes underestimate, because they say if you have a disability in one of the senses, the others are heightened. So I could not say how a blind person would perceive abstract artwork, but this is recognizable.
Yes.
So if a person stands in front of the sculpture and a guide or somebody would say this is a textile sculpture of a rabbit, surely when they start touching it, they will feel it's a rabbit, but the interest will come in all the different textures that they feel, because like here I've used hessian.
Yes.
I know some people call it burlap, but just moving from here to here, there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different textures that you can touch. I think this is one way for visually impaired people to be able to experience art.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
Yeah, don't steal my idea.
And this bowl over here, you were showing this bowl to me earlier.
Yes, this I made for a lesson. Tamara from Willowing, she's got this event that she raised money for the planet. So I made this lesson for her. So this is a hard bowl. It's hard and you can use it. You can put fruit in here.
You can drop it.
Yes. So this is made out of cord from a tie back, a curtain tie back. And then all these rings are made from the inside of either foil or wax paper, toilet rolls. The small one.
You're kidding me, the cardboard rounds?
Yes, the cardboard rounds. The small one here is, I think it was cellophane. Or it could be gift wrap as well. So I collect everything. So I had a variety of sizes of the cardboard. So it took me days. It's quite a long, lengthy process. Wrapping them with, you can imagine if you work with those small little rolls, wrapping the textiles around it, then wrap some twine around it, then get some paint and mediums on it, and then eventually I did work over a plastic bowl.
Okay.
Yes, obviously to get the shape. And then at the end, I just made it hard and let it dry in the sun, and there's a beautiful bowl.
That is.
The unfortunate thing about this or most handwork is that people don't appreciate the time that you put into it. So if I had to sell this, if I had to recover the cost of my time yes, it's recycled materials, but if I had to recover the cost of my time, I would have to sell this for about 1,200 Rand.
Yes.
And most people will look at it and say, oh,
Yes.
it's not worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but people who buy art and who does crafts and who's in the creative industry understand.
Yes. Yes.
So this was created, the event was, the theme was sharing love.
Okay.
Okay, so this I created with mainly black and white textiles, and while I was working on her, so normally when I put the eyes in, they get a little bit of character.
Yes.
And that's normally when I start thinking about a name. And the first person that came to my mind was Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay.
She normally wears black and white
Yes.
on her shows, and she's got this amazing programs where she just gifts and shares love, and she's got this slogan about sharing love and things. So this one is Ellen O'Hare.
Oh, lovely. Oh, fabulous.
That
Does Ellen DeGeneres know that you are naming rabbits after her?
No. Yeah, I hope somebody would tag her. That up there.
Yes, I'd love to hear about
Yes.
this piece.
It's an old porcelain clown, you know, the clowns with the costume and things like that. We had coffee in Benoni. My daughter lives in Kempton Park, so sometimes we just meet each other halfway, and there's a beautiful place, the Victorian House, where we had coffee, and next to it is a second-hand shop. I think it's a charity shop. So I just had this intuitive feeling that I had to go in there.
Yes.
And I found 3 or 4 clowns, so I took them apart. I threw the fabric, the stuffing away because it was really, really old, and
Okay.
it smelled,
Okay.
it was a bit moldy.
Okay.
And I remade the whole body. I remade the body, the legs and everything. This was for a solo exhibition where I created just puppets, marionettes and dolls.
Oh, how fabulous.
Yes, yeah. And you'll see that I used neutral tones.
Yes.
You know, so it's just, I think it's titled Not Black and White. Yeah, because it's like gray. So not everybody is the same. Not everybody is black, not everybody is white. I'm not meaning that in the color sense,
Yes.
but we're not all mathematicians or we're not all doctors, but
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
so that's
Yes.
why I made it neutral.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful.
Thank you. And then this piece over here, Sacred Heart.
Yes, yes. This was also for one of the Soul Sisters. Yes, this was also in the puppet show.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So I
that sounds so
created,
articulated.
yes,
like
so I
that.
make, one of the things is people love my art dolls. Some of my
Yes.
art dolls are very plain and simple. I think it stems back to the, you know, sort of like the old days, you know, the mid-century dolls were made with cloth. They didn't really have faces or things like that. And I started making art dolls and they're so popular, and I wanted to do something different. So I put a bird head on him instead of a human head, and then I just created
Some wings.
the wings. Yeah.
It's fabulous. I love it.
And these are all also offcuts and recycled
Yes.
textiles. Yeah.
Something off.
Yes.
50%, 5% off. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And this magnificent collection here.
So these, I had an exhibition in Potchefstroom in the main gallery. I had to create 140 pieces because the gallery is huge. And
So if I may dial you back just a little bit here, because I remember watching this particular story on Facebook of yours,
Yes.
where you were, I have this dream,
yes,
and then it happened.
yes.
How did that come about?
The curator saw me on Kwela
Okay.
on TV. Yeah.
Okay.
So she saw me and she heard my story, and she just called me and said to me,
So it was,
I'll
it
give
was
you an
that
opportunity.
TV exposure that you were pushing for that got you
and
here.
it is my very first in-person real. I mean, I would have been happy to have my first exhibition as, you know, shared in a gallery, but my very first actual physical exhibition in South Africa was a solo exhibition. So yes, but the gallery is big, and she said to me that I had to fill it up. So I made 140 pieces.
Okay.
I had African animals, I had sea life, I had vases and bowls, of course rabbits, owls. They've got this glass box, and I put all the owls in there. It looked magnificent because it looked like they were sitting in trees. And yes, so of the 140 pieces, this is what I have left.
That is all that is
And
left.
that
The
was,
rest is sold.
2 years ago.
That's so impressive.
The runner ducks, I love making these ducks. I went to visit my kids in Cape Town, and there's a wine farm, I can't remember the name, but every Sunday morning they had a duck run.
Okay.
So people would take the kids there. They actually use the runner ducks to eat the insects in the winelands, you know, between the grapes. So there was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ducks, and they were eagerly standing behind this ribbon, and everybody lined up on the side, and they cut the ribbon, and then these ducks start running.
Nice.
And I made videos, and when I looked back at the videos, I just decided I had to make them. And I've made quite a few of these. They are very popular. I sometimes make, you know, just the big ones, but sometimes I make like a mom and a baby.
I love the shwe fabrics that you've used on here. And the other one that I love is your ostrich.
Oh, the ostrich, yes. Yeah.
So I live near
love the
Oudtshoorn, so
feathers.
we're all about the ostriches
Yes,
there.
I love the feathers. I think I'm drawn to color and texture and patterns.
Yes.
I think that's why I use everything that's fiber and fabrics. And I mean, I've got drawers and drawers and drawers full of wool that I just buy because I like it. I walk past it and I see it, and I either like the color or the texture, and I buy, but I always use what I buy. I never buy things that I don't use. I love the wools that are gifted to me because I sometimes get really old wool that was made like in the 60s or in the 70s. Yeah. So yes, and this one, this is also. This one can sit or stand. So this was also part of my puppet show. I made a few of these in this pattern. So this one I made with movable body parts. Yeah. So normally I secure the parts onto the body, but because it was, my theme was like puppets, I made it. Now this fabric is also made with the sample books.
I see that. You patched it together.
Yes, so I make like a meter of my own fabric, and then I start cutting patterns. And
he's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
he's magnificent.
Yeah, I love, and you know, it's like little details.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Yeah, so.
He's beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
You are so welcome.
Fascinating walk through your world.
Thank you so much. Yes, this is my sanctuary. This is my space. I have to sometimes be very careful to create a balance between life and, you know, my fantasy, because I work from home. It is so easy to just over a weekend pop into the studio and get consumed into things around me.
Do your family have to come fishing for you?
Sometimes, but lately, normally when I work on a deadline for an exhibition, I would work over weekends. But lately, I, you know, sort of like took some stock in my life and decided that you need a proper balance. It's difficult for me to stay out over weekends. It's not always easy, but I try to do that. The nice thing is that it's part of my house and it's open, so if I go to the front garden to play with the dogs, I can greet them. Okay.
Thank you for everything you've shared with us today.
Yeah.
It has been so amazing and such a privilege.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.